There's a common concern that deaf students in mainstream schools are surrounded by hearing people that don't know their language. And while this might sound like a strong point against mainstream schools, we disagree with this statement. According to Bruce and Borders, interacting with hearing peers can help deaf students develop better communication and social skills. Instead of viewing mainstream schools as isolating environments for deaf students, we should recognize the opportunities they provide for meaningful integration. When deaf students are placed in classrooms with hearing peers, they can practice essential communication skills, bridging gaps, and fostering relationships that prepare them for the real-world interactions and offer deaf students valuable tools to their future.
Group 7's response video for me was about loneliness. The quote from the video is, "Also, deaf students tend to feel more lonely in mainstream schools due to the fact that they are surrounded by hearing people that do not know their language. There is always a possibility of loneliness no matter where deaf students go, but there's also inclusivity involved in mainstream schools. According to Stephanie W. Cawthon, the last few years have seen the advent of yet a new model, the inclusive classroom. Instead of providing separate services for students with special needs, inclusion integrates all students and services into the life of the general education classroom. In other words, there are opportunities of inclusion no matter if deaf students are in mainstream schools with private learning from other kids or they're with the other kids as well. There are options for them to develop further in English as well as ASL and still feel included in the classroom no matter where they are."
I believe deaf students are preparing deaf and hard of hearing children for the real world, which we disagree with because in the article www.brokens.edu, it states mainstream schools prepare deaf children for the real world and enable them to develop the necessary skills for communicating and working with hearing people. We believe that this statement is more accurate because since when deaf students attend mainstream schools, they are able to interact with hearing students, which helps with their skills for communicating as well as it will help them communicate with hearing people in the real world after school.
A quote from Group 7 that we disagree with is that mainstream schools lack patience, resources, and materials needed for deaf students to thrive. From the source, Deaf Students in the Mainstream Classroom by Start ASL, written by Michelle J. She explains how while some mainstream schools may indeed struggle supporting deaf students, but many others have made significant strides in inclusivity and support services, which includes their improved resources such as technology to give to their students. There are many examples of deaf students thriving in the mainstream schools when proper supports are in place. Students can excel academically, socially, and emotionally with the right accommodations and resources.